beginning to roll out. And we really need those 4 more years for all of those jobs to start rolling into these communities, for people to get electric vehicles, for them to put in a heat pump, to start seeing those benefits. Laws take time to really take hold. And with those crucial years before 2030, whoever wins this fall election will really be rewriting, world history when it comes to the climate crisis. So I certainly hope people understand the climate stakes of this election, because they're monumental.
Well, interestingly, one of his previous transition people did say that they would reverse everything that Biden has done. Do either of you know whether any of Biden's climate initiatives have a sort of baked in, or all or many of them reversible? George?
Well, what I would add to what Professor Stokes said is I'm not sure that policy and voting are as connected as we think they are, or as they used to be. I think people vote more and more along what I would call tribal lines. This is my identity, this is who I vote for. And if they discover that Biden's three big legislative achievements have brought a battery plant to their town, they may not think, therefore I will vote for Biden. It may just kind of go in one ear and out the other. I saw a lot of that, just national politics and the ins and outs of Washington legislation having very little effect on people's thinking about the election. And it's also, I think, the failure of the Biden administration itself to defend its achievements and to speak for them. And that goes to the president himself, who is not a master of rhetoric, and rhetoric is important in politics. So that doesn't quite answer your question, but I do think we shouldn't expect there to be a logical cause and effect. If a bill gets passed by a president, that leads to certain electoral results.
Mm-hmm. And Professor Stokes, overseas, we've just seen the European elections, and the Greens didn't do very well, which is very different to what happened the last time there were these parliamentary elections. All this emotion and enthusiasm around Greta Thunberg, which really powered a Green sort of momentum in Europe a few years ago, seems to have not materialized this time. What are you seeing overseas as well? Because even the Europeans have tried to have a green recovery, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, look, the polling going into those elections in the last few days was worse than what the actual outcome was. It's true that the Green parties did not do very well, and there was some surging in the far right, but it was not as bad as people were predicting in the polls. And the coalition that will continue to govern does want climate action. And of course, as you know, what really matters is who is controlling the countries in the European Union. So, for example, the election coming up in the UK within a month, which looks like the Labour government, the Labour Party may regain government. It's going to be crucial that they actually govern on climate change, that they use these years up till 2030 to make a difference. Because, as you were saying, we could be seeing rollbacks in the United States. In fact, we would be if Donald Trump becomes president. And so countries around the world really need to be electing climate leaders and having them deliver, because 2030 is just really one election cycle away. The elections this year will determine the fate of our climate goals.